It's time for WJTS Inform, and joining us in the studio, as he does on Fridays at the end of legislation, or at the end of the week of legislation, is State Senator Mark Messmer. Thank you for joining us. And Senator, thank you for being here.
Great to be here as always.
It is good that you come in and kind of get us up to date on some of the bills that go happen, especially the ones that you're connected with, kind of give people an idea of what's going on at state legislation. So this was a busy week.
It was. This is the final week of committee hearings this week, so everything that's going to be moved out of the House or Senate is done and to the floor, and then Monday will be the final day of amending in both chambers, and Tuesday the final day of third readings, and then we have a week of what we call conference committee time. So it was very busy in committee work and on the floor. We had 32 bills House bills that passed the Senate this week. Wow. 4 of those I was the sponsor of, and the first one was that I worked on was House Bill 1009, and that's a bill that if you have a student that's working in an internship, that has a little bit of money that goes with maybe working part-time or working as part of a career tech education program, or maybe a single parent who is on some type of assistance, food stamps or whatever, and they take a part-time job as a census worker. In both of those scenarios, we're not going to count that income against their eligibility for the assistance program that they're on. Gives opportunities for parents and students to learn their way, educate themselves through that job opportunity to better themselves, and not bump them and have just a cliff where they earn just $1,000 too much and no longer eligible. So that tends to disincentivize people to try to raise their status. Mm-hmm. So that was a very good bill, passed unanimously in the House and Senate. House Bill 1267 is one that currently this year, really every year, the filing cutoff for whenever the primary filing deadline is, it always hits on a Friday at noon. And it's usually about 85 to 89 days, whatever. There's a certain statutory time before the primary that it has to hit, and then the cutoff to withdraw your name is the following Monday at noon, and we're going to extend that withdrawal period from to the end of that week, at Friday at noon, and that way, an example came in Knox County a couple of years ago. There was only one contested race, and the person came in Tuesday of that, after the filing period had ended, to take their name off the ballot, and the clerk said, I can't let you withdraw. You missed it by a day. And so they had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to run a primary
because of that one race. Yeah.
And so the clerks all said, yes, if we have from that Friday to instead of having 85 days, if we have 81 days to prepare for election, that's still plenty of time. So, if it could end a contested race and save a municipality or a county, a lot of money. If there's no contested races, then you don't have to spend the money for the primary. That one passed unanimously as well. House Bill 1403, it was a bill that clarified definitions between what a waste tire hauler and dealer is versus somebody who has used tires. Used tires are meant to go back onto a vehicle that still have some tread life, still in a safe condition. But a lot of tire dealers can be, used tire, or you could even be a person that sells used tires. But when you're a waste hauler or a waste tire company, there's a little higher standard of oversight that goes with that. I was stunned at how many waste tires are recycled, every year in Indiana. I think 6 million tires a year was what we heard in testimony last week when we heard the bill in committee. And it also sets some financial standards for people that are going to be in the waste tire reprocessing business, because if they get hundreds of thousands of tires stacked up and go belly up, then you end up with a big environmental hazard potentially. So that one passed, I think, unanimously as well. Might have had one no vote, but I think it was unanimous. Another one, House Bill 1370, allows neighboring counties or cities that are in a geographic area to form a regional land bank where they can go multiple counties or multiple cities in an area to group together to get a little more financial clout behind with a larger group. And land banks are used to buy blighted, abandoned properties. Municipalities can buy those properties and then clear the lot to let it allow it to be redeveloped for new housing. And there's only 3 cities that have established land banks under our current land bank legislation, but this would allow counties, multiple cities to group together to hopefully to incentivize and repurpose some of those abandoned properties and help just help counties then or counties or cities encourage economic development and repurposing of those lots. And that one passed unanimously as well. And of our 32 bills, all were bipartisan. Probably 95% of them are unanimous. So we do function as a bipartisan group in the General Assembly. The last bill I want to chat about, and it's probably one that gets more news statewide, was House Bill 1070, and that's the requirement starting July 1 that if you're going to use your phone in your car, you have to use it hands-free. It'll be a little bit of an adjustment for anybody who's never used a hands-free function of your phone. Most new cars have an automatically syncs your phone with your car's electronic system, and hands-free operation is relatively simple on new ones. Not that I've checked in yet. I know my vehicle does not have that function, but I've been told there's hardware, apps you can get for your phone to do all that automatically. It'll be a little bit of an adjustment for everybody, but at the end of the day, statistically, more accidents occur from people who are, fiddling with their phone, texting with their phone, and just like seat belts were a big adjustment, whatever, 10, 15 years ago, when that got passed, now everybody just you don't even think about it. You click your seat belt, you move on. It'll take a little adjustment for everybody, and I think law enforcement typically has a pretty broad window of time where they let, if they pull people over, they'll give warnings for a while, and the violations for using your phone hands-free is just as it would be for any other, speeding ticket or any other moving violation. I mean, so the fines or whatever would be just the same as speeding or anything else. So, but that one, from statistics across the country, and even within Indiana, it'll be a big step in improving driving safety. It's not the only distracted driving that's out there, but it's probably the easiest one and probably the biggest one to deal with.
It's already illegal to text.
It is
and
illegal.
Drive. So
yeah.
This is basically saying don't use your phone.
Yeah, it is already illegal. It's just hard to enforce.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is basically just taking the existing law that we already have and making it a little bit easier for law enforcement to say, you've got your phone in your hand, you're doing something. They don't have to. I mean, I guess it's a little bit easier if it's in your hand and you're using it. Then you've committed a violation. So if it's in a some type of holding device and you reach up to touch it to I mean, if a voice command doesn't work or you have to touch a button to dial that, sometimes you might have 3 people with the names that sound similar when you do a voice command. But they said you won't be ticketed for that. But if it's in your hand, you probably will potentially have a ticket coming. So,
Mark, all we're really doing is going back to when you and I were young. Mm-hmm. We didn't have our phones with us.
No,
because you couldn't take a landline phone in your car with you.
No,
and so we were used to not.
That's
we should
right.
be. This is just going back to the old days.
It really will be.
Yeah.
So, and I think the majority of states already have similar legislation like this on the books, and so it'll be adjustment for all of us old creatures of habit, but it'll be fine.
It'll be good. It's really for the safety of everybody involved.
It is.
And the innocent people who you cause a problem for.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for
you're
coming
welcome.
in once again. State Senator Mark Messmer has been our guest. Now we've got 2 more weeks, and then
one more. I mean, Monday and Tuesday. Well, it'll be about a week and a half left. Okay. We'll have about 2 days of regular session, 1 week of conference committee time, and we're supposed to wrap up on March 11th. So I don't know what time of the day, March 11th. It might be late in the night, but we will get done and out of there.
And we usually do a couple of shows to kind of
do some
kind of wrap up. Yeah, recap. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming in. And thank you for watching 18 WJTS. We are local people watching local people.